What's up, PV Clan? Alex SB on here, and welcome back to the next episode of the Pokemon Red Randomizer Nuzlocke. If you missed the last episode, please go check it out. It was pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. My commentary was pretty good. We did make a little bit of progress in terms of the game. We entered the Pokemon Mansion, and we pressed a single statue, which I believe did something. If I remember correctly, they move where the walls are, which should be able to let us get through here. No, it did not. Okay, so apparently that statue didn't do as much as I thought. I don't know if the statue that we pressed just doesn't affect that specific wall, but the statue definitely affects some wall, and so I'm gonna have to actually go back and see go back to like the floors I've previously been on, and see where it actually affected. But yeah, I basically said in the last episode that I don't know how long this is going to take, but in my original playthrough, it took me much longer than Seafoam Islands, so possibly prepare for this to be longer than Seafoam Islands. I hope it's not, but, and like, you wouldn't think it would be, because Seafoam Islands is like significantly more floors, but this place has so much more of a puzzle aspect to it. Like, with Seafoam Islands, the real puzzle of the whole thing is on, like, the last 2 floors. Like, yeah, in order to solve the puzzle, you have to, like, you have to push the rock down from, like, the top floor, and then, like, slowly slowly push it down through all the floors of the cave. So technically, like, the puzzle in Seafoam Islands does involve, like, all floors of the cave, just, like, you just have to, like, keep pushing the rock down. But that's not, like, really part of the puzzle, you know? Like, it's a part of the puzzle, but it's not, like, a major part of the puzzle. That's not really intertwined with the puzzle. It's not like those floors are, like, part of the puzzle so much as they are, like, set up for the puzzle. But if I press this statue, will I then be able to go through that wall? Press it? Who wouldn't? Still don't understand that dialogue? And I will continue for the rest of my, probably, time playing Pokemon. Do not understand why it says who wouldn't. Not understand who's saying that, whether it's me or the statue. But, you know what, doesn't matter. Some things are just like, well, this is a weird, piece of... Some things in old video games are like, huh, I wonder why they designed it that way. Who cares, it's old. Old games are weird sometimes. But yeah, I don't know, like, genuinely, I've talked about this before. Sandshrew has, like, that little line coming out the side of their eye, and I don't know if that's, like, an eye... I always said that before that it was, like, an eye stalk, like Gary, like snails have. Like that. That little tiny line. I don't know if you see, like, the little tiny line coming out the side of their eye. I don't know if that's, like, I don't know if that's, like... Obviously, it's not an eye stalk. I've been, like, joking about the fact that it's an eye stalk. That was a joke. I don't actually think it's an eye stalk. I don't actually think that they gave Sandshrew, like, eye stalks. I don't think they actually gave Sandshrew snail eyes. I feel like that's either, like, an eyelash, or just, like, a place where the skin curves in, for some reason. A place where the skin curves in seems like the most logical thing to me, because I don't know why they would give Sandshrew an eyelash, like, just one. If they wanted to give it, like, multiple eyelashes, I could see. If they gave it, like, multiple of those lines, I could see how it would be eyelashes, but the fact that it's just one makes me think it's not. I also don't see, like, I don't see why they would give Sandshrew, like, those eyelashes. Like, sure, they could just do it for cutesy, but I feel like eyelashes sort of give off, like, a feminine vibe, and I don't think there's much that's effeminate about, like, Sandshrew. But yeah, basically, in my original playthrough, this Pokemon Mansion, Seafoam Islands, took me 1 hour. In my original playthrough of Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, Seafoam Islands took me 1 hour, and then this took me 3 hours. So, doing the math, considering, if we keep up with that sort of, conversion rate, then that means that since, in this playthrough, Seafoam Islands took me 2 hours, about 2 hours, we're looking at about 6 hours for Pokemon Mansion. So hopefully we do not follow that same conversion rate. Hopefully we do not follow that same pattern of Pokemon Mansion taking 3 times the amount of time that Seafoam Islands did. Because Seafoam Islands, I was sure, like, yes, I spent an hour on it in Fire Red and Leaf Green, And like an hour is a lot of time to spend on like one sort of area in Pokemon. And so that's like sort of worrying. But I thought for sure that like the second time around I'd know how to get through it much better. But it actually ended up taking longer, which makes me very nervous. And like that's something that I was thinking about as I was going through Seafoam Islands. It's like, I was like, so if Seafoam Islands is taking me this long, how long is Pokemon Mansion going to take me in this playthrough? I think that I need repels. Like, this is one of those few times where I feel like repels are pretty darn necessary, because this would just take so long without repels. But the problem is I just don't know where to get them, so I think we're going to have to do it without repels. And I don't want to use speed up, because speed up is like really dangerous in a Nuzlocke. It allows you to just like sort of turn your brain off and speed through everything, which obviously makes things take less long, but it's also dangerous, because if you're going fast, then you're typically not thinking all that much about the moves you're making. If you're making moves fast, then you don't have as much time to think. You're not using as much time to think about it, which means you're thinking about it less. Clearly, see, that is the disadvantage of using speed up in a Nuzlocke. And like in a normal Nuzlocke, I wouldn't use speed up if I'm just doing a Nuzlocke on my own time. But the problem is that, especially like in this situation, I would use speed up quite a bit. I would definitely use speed up in this situation. Would I? I don't know. I've been really good lately about not using speed up, I think. Like, I feel like I only really use speed up nowadays when I absolutely need to, because I lost way too many runs of the Ruby Randomizer Nuzlocke to speed up. So I feel like I learned my lesson, and nowadays I only need it use it when it is absolutely necessary. And this would be a great time to use speed up. And I am really tempted, because obviously I want this to not take I want to get out of here like pretty quick so that I can give y'all your gym battle soon, because I'm sure we've been waiting for like a decent amount of time at this point. We had to do like, I don't know how long it's been since Sabrina's gym. It feels like it's been quite a while, but I feel like that's only because I haven't recorded in ages. Our Mewtwo can take down a our Mew can take down a Mewtwo, right? I mean, I think that Mewtwo's definitely the stronger Pokemon, but Mew is still a legendary, and we are 20 levels above, so I think we're fine. I think Polly can take out this Mewtwo, no problem. But I did not. I was content to like walk around. At the end of the last episode, I said about how like I didn't want to leave. I'm stubborn, and I want to like carry on. I really want to use Metronome like just for the lulz, but I also don't want to lose a Pokemon. I also don't want to lose my level 50 legendary because we Metronome onto Explosion, and that is like so a thing that could happen with my luck. So while I want to use Metronome, just to like see what would happen, just because I like Metronome as a concept, I like to sort of like leave it up to God which move we use. I like the idea of that. Just like whatever I use, and hopefully it works out, hopefully it doesn't. I like the roll of the dice. I like that. I like the idea of that. But I think it's good content. But like at the same time, I don't want to. If we lose Polly, then that's like a darn shame, and it makes it so much worse if we lose Polly, because Polly just like metronomed onto a move that kills them. So I really just don't want to use Metronome. Like, in a normal playthrough, totally, you use Metronome. It's fun. It's cool. You get to, like, you could use, it could be any move. It could be something really hype, or it could be something really, be something really crazy, or it could be something really weak. And I like the gamble of that. I like the idea of that. Like, it could be anything. I like the possibility there. But, not a smart move in a Nuzlocke. Metronome is always scary in a Nuzlocke, because, like, realistically, there are so many moves. The chances of you not rolling onto Explosion it doesn't seem like this huge chance. It seems like such a low chance of you rolling onto the one move that could kill you. Because there's like only one or two moves that can kill you, right? It's like, I don't know if it's even two in this game. Are Self-Destruct and Explosion different moves in this game? I don't know. But like, it is only two moves. In this game, it might even be one. I think it's two. I think Self-Destruct and Explosion are both in this game. It's kind of crazy that they're two different moves. Please don't kill us. Thank you. That could have killed us, I was gonna say, but it wouldn't have, even if it was a crit. I guess if it critted and was a high roll, it might have. It definitely would have, assuming that's not a high roll. Maybe that was a high roll, and it wouldn't have. But assuming that wasn't a high roll, then a crit high roll would have killed us. I don't even know if, like, every move can high roll. I really don't know, like, how that works, because a lot of Poketubers just toss around the word high roll, the term high roll, and I just sort of, like, picked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, sometimes moves do more damage than they normally would. But I still don't know why. Like, I hear the word high roll, and I've accepted that that's the thing that can happen, because I've seen it. I've seen moves do more damage than they normally do, than they did before, without critting. Like, there's nothing different. It didn't crit. It's the same move on the same Pokemon, but this time it does higher damage. Like, I have seen that before. I know that high rolls are a thing, I just don't really know why. Like, I picked up on the fact that high rolls are a thing, but I never picked up, like, why they're a thing. Never picked up on why it sometimes does more damage than other times. So if y'all do know, make sure to let me know in the comments, because I could just look it up, but that wouldn't get me engagement, now would it? But, yeah, I was saying at the end of the last episode about, like, how, oh, I'm stubborn, and oh, I don't want to leave because I activated one statue, and then I deactivated that same statue, so now I'm sure we've made absolutely no progress in this place, so it's like, might as well leave now, because, like, my Pokemon need healing. Looking at it, it's like, it's much worse than I thought. And, like, I think that when I said, because, like, not much has changed, is what I'm realizing. Like, I was gonna say, maybe it was worse, maybe my team looked better, when I said that, but it was at the end of the last episode, and I was gonna say at the beginning of this this episode, but we are 11 minutes in. Time flies when you're freaking losing, but, yeah, just, like, I don't think it changed, because we only really had one Pokemon out, and that was, like, Polly. We didn't really do a lot of battles in between the end of the last episode and where we are now in this episode, so I think that I just sort of placeboed myself into thinking, like, oh yeah, my team's fine, they can continue to last, because I didn't want to go back to the Pokemon Center, because, like, while I could have, while I was right there, while I was right at the beginning of the building, and I could have just, like, walked right there. The Pokemon Center's, like, right down the street from here, while it would have been, like, perfectly reasonable to go to the Pokemon Center at that point. A part of me just didn't want to, so I feel like I just placeboed myself into thinking, oh yeah, my team's fine, when really they were not at all. Because, like, now looking at it, I'm like, why did I continue through this place? They all look terrible. It's like, you know it's bad when I have a team. You know my team is, like, not in good health when I have a team that has, like, a level 41 Pokemon, and I'm using a level 50 Pokemon. Like, no one else is as high as Polly is. No one else is as high level as Polly is. Some Pokemon on our team are like close, but no one is. But no one is as high level as Polly is. And some people on our team are, like, as low as 5 levels below Polly. Oliver is 9 levels below Polly. So, like, there is no way I'd use Polly unless things are really bad. Unless the rest of our team is in really bad shape. Like, y'all know I like to keep a well-balanced, I like to have a well-balanced team. I like to make sure that my team's levels are as balanced as possible. So the fact that I'm using a level 50 Pokemon just goes, when I have a Pokemon on this team that's level 41, when I have Pokemon on this team that span level 41 to level 48, and I only have one level 50 Pokemon, the fact that I'm using the level 50 Pokemon just should show you, like, hey, we're doing pretty bad right now. And I think that the fact that like, we ran into another Mewtwo just, like, showed me, yeah, we need to go heal right now. Because, yes, Polly could probably take down, like, another 2 Mewtwo's, but that also wouldn't really be helping us all that much, because, once again, that's training up a Pokemon that doesn't need training, that is giving XP to a Pokemon that is already over 8 levels above other Pokemon on our team. I did not really think about whether this would kill before okay, it did not. Just keep on, like, not doing the damage calculations in my head. I keep on, like, my Pokemon keep on getting at low health. Like, usually I'm damage calculating like crazy. I'm like, okay, that did 26, and then this, so we are 34, so it's not gonna kill. Like, normally I'm keeping in mind, like, the damage every move is doing, and I'm making sure, like, another one won't kill, and, like, what if it's a crit? Normally I'm doing all those calculations in my head, like, all the time. But for today, I'm just, like, not feeling it for some reason. Today, for some reason, I'm just, like, I'm chilled out. I don't feel like doing all the calculations. I don't feel like running the numbers in my head to see if we'll survive the next hit. I just feel like, yeah, I'm probably gonna live the next one, which is not a good frame of mind to be in during a Nuzlocke. Especially when the Pokemon we have out is a Pokemon that is as good as Nidoking is, because, like, Nidoking is level 41. They are significantly lower than every other Pokemon on our team. But so, like, yes, they are worse than a lot of other Pokemon on our team. But when we get this thing up to a level that is, like, on par with the rest of the team, they will be putting in so much work, it's not even funny. I just hope that they get better moves. Because, like, yes, Slash is high power, but the normal type moves are not helping us all that much when we already have Raticate, who can use all these normal type moves, but just hit harder with them. Like, normal type moves are good, don't get me wrong. It's nice to be able to hit a lot of things with just, like, good neutral damage. But using normal type moves isn't as good as using a normal type Pokemon. Like, normal type moves are good because a decent amount of things, like, a decent amount of things are, like, using normal type moves are good because they're, like, neutral on a decent amount of things. But the thing is that, like, and, like, the same thing applies to using a normal type Pokemon. Normal type Pokemon, a lot of things are neutral on them. But using a normal type Pokemon has one advantage that using normal type moves does not. And that's that using a normal type Pokemon, what makes using a normal type Pokemon extra good is the fact that the ghost type does not hit you. You have an immunity. Normal type Pokemon, everything is neutral on them. And normal type Pokemon, pretty much everything is neutral on them. Normal type moves, they're neutral on pretty much everything. But normal type Pokemon are completely immune to something, while normal type moves are not super effective on anything. So there are, like, these two. So using a normal type Pokemon has, like, 2 pluses, has just 1 plus. Sorry, yeah. No, using a normal type Pokemon has 2 pluses, while using normal type moves only has 1. Like, that's the difference, is what I realized, like, recently. Because I was like, oh, normal type moves are good to have. And it's like, yeah, they're alright to have, but really what's good to have is having a normal type Pokemon. Not necessarily the normal type moves are what's beneficial about a normal type Pokemon. Because normal type moves are not super effective on anything. It's good that they're neutral on so many things, but it would be much better if they were also super effective on something. Like, literally anything. But, like, it makes sense why they're not. Like, with all these mystical things in Pokemon, like fire type, water type, grass type, electric type, ice type, with all these, like, elements and everything, it would make sense why normal moves, normal attacks would have no super effectiveness. That would make sense. That it wouldn't be, like, very effective against anything. Like, yes, it makes sense that, like, normal attacks would always work, pretty much. Like, unless you're fighting a ghost, that makes sense that ghosts are immune to normal type moves. And obviously it makes sense the other way around too, that normal types are immune to ghost type moves. But for, like, basically everything else, it does make sense that, like, hey, normal type moves hit this thing normally, you know? They do a normal amount of damage. They just do neutral damage. They always sort of hit. Unless it's a ghost type, normal type moves are, like, always doing damage. Because a normal attack is just good, you know? It's just good to have, like, a normal attack. That is, if you strike normally, just like a normal basic attack, it's like, yeah, it's boring or whatever, but it's always, like, sure to hit, you know? It's like it's like a boring attack, it's a normal attack, it's a basic thing, but sometimes basic things are the things that work. So it makes sense that, like, normal type moves would be neutral on a lot of things. it's basic, it's normal, it's boring, but there's certainty to it. These moves are not like anything special, but sometimes the simplest things are the things that work the best. And so that's why so many Pokemon take neutral damage from normal type moves. But normal isn't like super effective on anything. Like, it just makes sense. Same thing with normal. Same thing with like the type matchups against the normal type, where fighting is super effective on them, and Ghost is immune to them, but they are also immune to Ghost. Like, that makes sense. But yeah, obviously having a normal type Pokemon is better than using a normal type move. And something I've realized in between episodes is that first of all, I'm very lost. I'm very lost in this mansion, but that's in between the last episode and this episode. Something that I figured out in between. I realized in between the last episode and the episode before that is the reason that I prefer to talk about Mario as opposed to Kirby. I actually need to like stop being so like talkative right now, is what I'm realizing, is because like I have been walking through these halls, the halls of this building, for ages, just like looking at things and like not really taking things in. But like this is one of those situations where it's just like Seafoam Islands, where I need to like just think. Where like Seafoam Islands was made so much harder by the fact that I was talking, and I was so focused on commentary that I wasn't really like taking in the fact I need to push a boulder down here. Like I walked like through the same rooms over and over again without making any progress on like solving the puzzle, and I feel like that was mostly as a result of commentary. And like, yes, I want to provide y'all with commentary, of course, but I think right now I need to focus more on the actual gameplay than commentary, just so I can like make some progress here, because we have made literally basically no progress in this episode. See, I'm going to continue talking, obviously. I need to continue providing the commentary because that's why y'all are here. You wanna just like watch Pokemon Red, then you could watch anyone play Pokemon Red, but y'all are here to watch me play Pokemon Red, and part of that is commentary. And I'm now realizing, have I gone up through those stairs? Have I gone up those stairs in that little room? I don't think I've gone into that room, period. And if I have, then I don't think I've ever had access to that room. If I have, then I don't think I've gone in there, because otherwise I would have gone up those stairs, and I don't recall going up those stairs. So maybe I have, maybe they just led to nowhere. But I feel like that's the only place where I can think of to go right now, because I looked around this floor and I was not finding anything really. I was not finding anything this way, and I don't recall really going this way. And like I feel like I recall maybe going this way, but I don't recall going up a flight of stairs this way, which means I make you think that I am just like fooling myself, that I'm just like my brain is like tricking me into remembering something that didn't actually happen, that I did not actually go in that direction. Carly is the Raticate, I think, possibly. Let's see. Okay, good. Memory is serving. I've known that for a while now, that Carly was the Raticate, but for some reason my brain just decided to make a quick brain fart. My brain just decided it didn't want a brain for a second, so I just forgot who Carly was. But I'm glad that I was able to recall before sending them out, because that would have been embarrassing if I did not know who Carly was. And then I was like, oh, yep, that's the Raticate. Not bad. It would have been more embarrassing if I saw it. If it took me seeing Carly to recall that they were Raticate. The fact that I was able to recall before I sent out Raticate made it better. I think it's this flight of stairs up here that I'm looking for. Because I don't recall going up these. Oh, wait, this looks new. Maybe I'm forgetting the fact that I was like already in this area, but this looks new. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I think I remember the answer to this place being some sort of balcony, and I do see a balcony. Yes, okay. So I believe you need to fall down one of these holes. My mentor once lived here. That's great, buddy. But yeah, obviously before, a lot of things were like blocked off by walls. And so but like, as you can see, there's like no real border to this place. There's just like darkness. And maybe I could explain it better if I actually had like the visual aid of the darkness. If I actually was like maybe when I'm outside of the battle I can explain it better. But basically there's like darkness next to us. There's no wall separating us from the dark abyss outside of the world. Because basically in Pokemon, like when you're in a building, it's like where the building ends, you just sort of see darkness all around the building. And it's like a lot of buildings have like visible walls, but this building doesn't really have visible walls in certain places. And in those certain places, you can actually jump down into the dark abyss in order to fall down to the previous floor, which is what we need to do actually for this. Go figure. This strange mechanic that they only use in this area is actually the answer to getting out of this area. Makes sense, doesn't it? So basically, it's like the thing that we did before with Seafoam Islands, where we had to fall down holes, except literally all of it is a hole. It's just the entire outside of this building is one big dark abyss. This entire building is located in one big dark abyss, like the other buildings of Pokemon, of the Pokemon world, in the early games at least. I think in future games too, honestly. Because it's like, yeah, all buildings in Pokemon, at least that are like top down, obviously are just like located in an abyss of darkness, really, because it's like, well, what would you put around the building? How would you avoid the player? How would you keep the player from seeing outside of the building? And the answer is, well, it doesn't really make sense that you would be able to if the character stays center with the camera. So, like, it makes sense that if the camera is staying centered on the character, that the camera every once in a while would give you a vision outside of the building, because like if you were in the corner of the building and it stayed centered on you, then part of the camera would be outside of the building. Part of the camera's view would be outside, would see outside through the walls. And obviously it makes sense that like there would be nothing there, because it's like, well, if you made something there, that would just be a lot of extra work. If you just made like an area that you could not access in every building, that like just so that people could see something besides darkness outside of the building, that would just be a lot of extra work. So it makes sense that like when you are seeing outside the boundaries of the building, it's just darkness. Woo! Overwhelming! Well, and like we don't think about it too much with other buildings, but in this building it's actually like an important detail that like you can jump down here. You see this darkness right here? This darkness right down here? I could jump down here if I wanted. However, I don't think that's the answer. I think I have to jump down at a different point in this. Never mind, I might have to jump down there, because I was expecting to go down those stairs and then be in like a new area, but I did not end up in a new area. I ended up down behind some stairs. I ended up down some stairs that are I ended up down some stairs in an area that I've already seen. I saw it through a wall that I could not get through, because yes, the statues move walls. The statues remove walls, but as they remove walls, they put other walls up in order to sort of make up for the fact that that a wall was removed. It puts up another wall in its place, but not like in its place. Like it puts up another wall somewhere else, which means that if a place is locked behind two walls, which that staircase was, then you just straight up can't get to it, because if you try to take down one wall with one statue, then it just puts up the other wall. And then if I got to the first wall, so like really the only way, because like if I tried to go over there with the second wall disabled, I couldn't even get to the second wall because I couldn't get through the first wall. And if I tried to take down the first wall, it would just bring me to I wouldn't be able to get to the second wall. Because that one I wouldn't be able to get through the second wall if I took down the first wall, because that wall would be closed then. So that did not seem to help me at all, actually. So I went down that staircase. That didn't help me. I fell down here. That also didn't help me, because this is just back where I was before. So it seems that I need to fall down someplace else. I do remember the solution is falling down those abysses. I just don't remember which abyss it is. But I remember I need to find some place where I need to go through a series of things in order to find some place where I need to take a series of steps in order to find some place where I can fall through into one of those abysses and go down to a lower floor. And I don't know if that if I need to like go down multiple. I don't remember if I need to drop down multiple floors to get to the basement of this area, which I'm trying to get to, or if I could just drop straight down to the basement from the abyss that I can access, but that I'm trying to access. But I do know that it does. The answer to this place, the answer to getting to the basement, which is where I need to go, does in fact involve falling down one of those pits. And as I said before, this would be like 1,000 times easier if I had repels, but I just don't think I can buy any straight up in this game. I don't know if you can buy any, like, in any games. I assume you can. I seem to remember being able to buy some in certain games, but then again, so many items are just like look similar in Pokemon. It could have been something else. Because I'm sure you could buy, because part of me is fairly certain you could buy repels and Sword and Shield, but then part of me is like, that also could have been an ether. It's like so many things in Pokemon are just like bottles of something. It's just so many items just like look like medicine that I could easily have just like, I could easily just be like picturing, I could easily have just mistaken a bottle of something for a bottle of another thing, and it's just like the complete wrong item. It's just like completely different from the item that I thought it was, just because so many things in Pokemon are just like in bottles. They're just like random things in bottles. And I guess like repels would be more of a can because it's like a spray can, like spray paint, but like a can of bug spray. Bug spray comes in like a can, but more than you would say like a bottle. We can take out this Nidorino. We're 10 levels above, and we're the evolution level above it, or evolution line above. We're evolution stage above it in its evolution line. It does have Fury Attack, which is kind of scary because it could potentially do enough damage to kill us? Question mark. It hit 4 times. Okay, so that nearly killed us. If my Nidoking died to a Nidorino, I would have been so mad. But yeah, that's scary. Because it easily could have just gotten another hit, and we would have died there. I was not expecting it to do that much damage. And that's the thing about Fury Attack, is that sometimes these multi-hitting moves are scary, because like sometimes they'll do like nothing, and it's nothing to worry about. They'll just do 2 hits, and then they'll be like nothing. But the thing is, like, other times, they could just hit 5 times. They can hit 5 times, and that's just, like, so much more impactful. That does so much more damage, and so it's so hard to, like, play around it, because you never know if it's just gonna, like, hit 5 times. You could plan around it hitting 2 times, but then it might hit 3. You could plan around it hitting 3 times, but then it might hit 4. And it's so hard to, like, get a measurement of how much damage it might do, because I don't know, like, the numbers. Like, I could probably hazard a guess as to, like, how much damage 2 hits of Fury Attack would do, and then maybe I could guess how much damage about 3 would do, but it gets so hard to, like, figure out how much 4 or 5 would do, just, like, looking at the health. Unless I have, like, the exact number of damage number of hit points it's doing. I really don't have a good way of figuring out how much 3 or 4 would do, because like I could estimate for like 1 or 2, for like 2 or 3 how much it would do. I could estimate for like 2 or 3 how much it would do, but once we get to like the 4 or 5 range, it's like, okay, now it's going to be doing considerably more damage than just 2 or 3 hits would do. So it's so much harder to calculate, because it's like, you could just, like, see damage. You could just, like, see, okay, 1 would do this much damage. And you have that sort of idea in your head of, like, how much 1 would do. And then you, like, double it. And you're like, okay, that's probably what 2 would do. And then you get to, like, 3. And it's like, okay, now it's getting a little bit harder to, like, multiply in my head. Now it's getting a little bit harder to, like, duplicate the result. And then you get to, like, 4 and 5, and it's like, oh, okay, so like, I knew how much 1 hit would do. And I knew maybe how much 2 hits would do. But then you get to, like, 4 or 5 hits, and it's harder to, like, sort of hazard a guess. Because it's just so much more damage than just, like, 2 hits would do. That it's hard to, like, fathom. But anyway, something I realized in between the last episode and the episode before that was why I talk about Mario so much because I talked about Kirby and during the Seafoam Island episode, mostly because I feel like I've spent a lot of time in this series talking about Mario, and I wanted to mix it up a little bit. I figured y'all had heard enough of me talking about Mario for a decent amount of time, and that you probably would want a little bit of change. And that's not to say I won't continue to talk about Mario, because I do love talking about Mario. But I might just take a short break from it, talk about other things instead. I am noticing that this one dropped me down right here, and there was another one that was, like, further to the left of the hole I dropped down, so I'm wondering if that bigger hole would drop me down. It looked like, because if it matches up perfectly with the tiles down here, then it looks like it would just drop me down into those rocks. So I'm wondering if it would drop me down, like, beneath those rocks rather than in those rocks, because that would make sense, I guess, because it's not going to drop me into the rocks. But it looks like if the tiles match up, then it would drop me into the rocks. So I have to just assume that, like, the tiles don't match up exactly, because obviously then I'd fall into the rocks, and that just wouldn't make much sense. And so I assume that the tiles don't match up exactly, but they give a rough idea of where you're going to land. So I'd imagine the bigger hole is what I want to go down in order to land in the place that I want to be. I do want to, and like I said, I don't know if I said this earlier or not, but I do want to, like, I don't want to make this another Seafoam Islands type of episode, where I just, like, sit here, I just run around struggling for, like, an hour and a half, trying to figure out how on earth to solve the puzzle. Like, if I don't solve the puzzle in this episode, and I have to do, like, another episode to figure out where exactly I'm trying to go, then that's fine. Like, I'm fine with splitting up into another episode. But I just want to make sure I'm at a good stopping point where I've sort of like exhausted all the paths I could possibly go in, like, a certain direction. Because I don't want to, like I'd rather test. So, like, I could end off the episode here. Obviously, it was time a while ago. I hit the 25-minute mark quite a bit ago. But before I end off the episode, I would like to try that other hole next. Just so that I know, like, starting off the next episode, like, hey, I already tried that. And I may not even remember that I already tried that. But I don't want to, in the next episode, forget what I tried in the last episode. And as a result, like, not get the opportunity to try that. And then, like, because, like, what if that's the answer? What if the answer is to drop down that hole? I want to try it right now, just in case that is the answer. Because I don't want to, like, forget. I don't want to, like, next time I record, forget that, like, last time I dropped down one of those holes, but I didn't drop down the other. Because I know, like, next time I record, there's not a very high chance of me remembering, like, hey, try the other hole. So, while I'm up there trying out those holes, I might as well do both, in my opinion. That sounds like the best thing to do, is try both. Just to make sure, because I'm not going to remember that I only tried one later on. But yeah, one of the big reasons why I think I talk about Mario rather than Kirby, because I like Kirby a lot. Frankly, I like Kirby about as much as I like Mario, I'd say. But the reason why I talk about Mario more than I talk about Kirby, I think, and this is something I thought about in between episodes, because I hadn't really thought about it before, but I definitely do like Kirby, and so it sort of is odd once I thought about it, the fact that, like, that was really the first time I talked about Kirby in an episode. Like, yeah, I had brought up the fact in previous episodes that I liked Kirby, but it had just been, like, an offhand comment of, hey, I like Kirby. Like, what was the difference, you know? I sort of, like, thought about it, because I thought about it for the first time, because it was only after, like, that long session of talking about Kirby that I realized, like, dang, I really haven't talked about Kirby at all in this series. And I sort of got to wondering, like, why is that? Because during the episode, I was like, yeah, I haven't talked about Kirby enough in this series, I'll talk about Kirby now. And it was sort of like, oh yeah, I'll talk about Kirby because I'm tired of talking about Mario. I want to mix it up a little. But, like, in the episode, I realized that I didn't talk about Kirby as much as I did Mario, but I don't think I really realized that, like, I didn't really talk about Kirby, period, in the series. And so it wasn't until, like, after the episode where I'm like, dang, I don't talk about Kirby a lot in this series. I wonder why that is. And so I thought about it some more, because I really do like Kirby, and I don't know why I wouldn't talk about it. And, like, it doesn't make sense to me that, considering I love the two franchises fairly equally, why I talk about Mario so much, like, every other episode. At this point, it's gotten to the point where, yeah, I'm talking about it, like, basically every other episode. For these episodes, I haven't been, just because, like I said, taking a little break. And I also have, like, other things to talk about right now. Obviously, Mario is, like, a thing that I sort of fall back on. Like, whenever I don't have the game to talk about, I could sort of talk about Mario instead, because Mario always has, like, so much for me to talk about. But yeah, in these past few episodes, I feel like I have had enough game to talk about. We have been making enough progress in this particular game to the point where I'm like, yeah, sure, let's stay off the Mario topic and focus on what's happening on screen, because we are doing actual things today, and we have been doing actual things in, like, the previous episode. Is this where I need to be? This is where I need to be. Okay, we have dropped down into the right area. Who are you? There shouldn't be anyone here. Hopefully my bag isn't full. I'm getting that feeling that my bag is getting full. And I'm seeing a Pokeball right down there, so that worries me. Because I don't like the idea of tossing things. I don't like having to, like, just throw something away, because I'll admit it, I'm kind of a hoarder. I like to, not in real life. In real life, I shouldn't say happy to throw things away. That sounds like I don't care about the environment. I am not, like, super sentimental in... I'm not, like, a crazy... Obviously, I don't like just throwing everything in the trash. I'm not, like, super, I don't care about the environment. I'm just gonna throw out everything throw out 10 pairs of clothes that I don't wear anymore. I'm not like that. I'm not that kind of person in real life. But in video games, what am I saying? I'm not that kind of person. But, like, obviously, I wouldn't say, but, like, I'm not that kind of person. But I wouldn't say I wouldn't call myself, like, a hoarder in real life at all. I think that I don't have trouble really letting go of things in real life as much as I do in video games, because I feel like in video games I work for things so much more. Like, and so I have real trouble tossing things away, which is a problem. Because, like, in Minecraft, I always, like, I get a haul of things, and I want to, like, put everything back in a chest. Like, I don't want to ever just get rid of something, because I know if I drop it on the floor, it'll despawn, and then it's gone forever. And I don't want anything to really be gone forever. I always want to have some sort of opportunity to get something back in Minecraft, so I will just, like, put things in random, like, mineshaft chests. I'm like, I probably won't ever need these 16 pieces of gravel, but just in case I do, here they are. Like, just drop them in a random chest somewhere, because I'd rather not litter all over the floor. Even though it's gonna despawn in, like, 5 minutes anyway. Ouch! But yeah, in Minecraft, I absolutely hate throwing things on the floor. I hate the idea of just, like, throw something out of your inventory and then it'll just lay on the floor until it despawns. I want to store it somewhere, even if I'm never going to come back to it. I don't know how much damage a Poison Sting is going to do to this Magikarp, because it is Stab, and this is just a Magikarp. So its defense can't be that high, but at the same time, Poison Sting is only like 15 power, so I'm going to paralyze it first. I don't know why I paralyzed the Magikarp, actually. I thought that was sleep, and I thought it was going to, like, not be able to attack me, but paralysis is just like, oh, there's a chance it won't be able to attack me. And it's like, why do I even care? Why am I paralyzing a Magikarp? Why do I feel the need to ensure that a Magikarp doesn't attack me? It's like, oh no, the Magikarp better not attack me. I'll be in serious trouble if this Magikarp attacks me. But Alex found an X attack. That's great. X attacks are always useful to have. I don't really know where to go from here, actually. But, anyway. Yeah, in Minecraft, I totally just, like, I totally just put items away in chests that I will never come back to, just so that I am, like, just so that I feel like I can come back to them, you know? And maybe it's not even, like, so that I feel like I can come back to them. Maybe I know that I won't ever come back to the chest. Obviously, I would say I know, because I'm saying it right now. Like, I know I will never come back to that chest. So why do I put it into the chest? I don't know. Maybe it's just like, in case I ever want to come back, in case I ever come back this direction, I want it to be in the chest, so that way, if these items that are honestly probably completely useless to me, if I ever want them back, I can just go back to this chest. If I ever am going that way, then I have, like, a chest to loot. Even though I've already looted the chest, and the chest is pretty much empty except for some garbage, I will still have the chance to, like, sort of loot it again of all my old items that I refuse to just throw away. I put them in a chest, just for safekeeping. If I ever come back to that chest, I will be able to get them again. Even if they are completely useless items, I love to just store them in chests. I would much rather store an item in a chest that I will probably never find than just throw it away. And yeah, like, obviously that sort of trait of not wanting to let go of things, like, completely, and not wanting to, and like sort of hoarding things in video games applies to Pokemon as well, where I'm willing to, like, store an item in a PC and probably never come back to it, just like I'm willing to store an item in a chest that I'll probably never come back to. Can I fall down here? That just puts me back outside. That just puts me back outside. Huh. Experimentation. That's fun. That's interesting. I'm going to... Yeah, sure. I was gonna say I should probably end the episode here, because it's going on a little long, and we do just exit. But I'm gonna take this opportunity to heal, and I'm not gonna end the episode here, because, like, I would, but I'm in the middle of talking about something. I'm in the middle of a topic, so I might as well continue on. And I can't promise that we'll get back to where we were before, while I'm talking. But, I think we can make at least some progress towards going back to where we were. Because honestly, we might make it back. It's not really that big of a task to get back to where we were. It really does not take all that long once you know what you're doing. I think it's the same with the Seafall Islands thing, honestly. Like, the puzzle really does not take that long once you know what you're doing. You just have to, like, push this rock at the top, down through this hole, down through this hole, down through that hole, down through that hole, and then boom, you're, like, at the bottom. It's like, just push two rocks through push one rock down through two holes, I think, and then push one rock at the top floor down through, like, 5 holes. And then that's the puzzle. It's like, once you know what you're doing, it doesn't take that long at all. And I think this is the same way. Because I just gotta go up here, press this statue, then I can go through that floor above me, go through to that floor above me, I can go up those stairs, that'll bring me to a place where I can... Oh, sorry, I accidentally locked the thing rather than unlocking it. I guess I pressed the statue before coming up here, or after coming up here, even. Maybe I pressed the statue already, and then pressed it again to unlock it, but apparently just pressing it once from coming in here just locks it. So, apparently I pressed something, either this statue or the statue on the previous floor, before I pressed that one. To open the door. Because if I just pressed that one, that would have closed the door, apparently. Apparently that door starts open. That's crazy, that the door that you need to go to starts open. Because it must have started open. I just clicked on the statue, and then it closed it. So that's wacky, actually, that you don't even... If you just came in here and touched no statues, and then came up here, then the way to the exit would already be just open. You wouldn't even need to press the statue. That's crazy. And I think that you need to press the statue on the next floor to open up something. But it's crazy that, like, the thing is already open. Because before I was like, oh yeah, because for some reason my memory was telling me, oh, you have to press the statue like the second you come up here to open up something. And it might have just been to get an item or something. But yeah, for some reason I was like, oh, come up here, press the statue. I didn't even like look around to see if the way to progress was already open without me pressing the statue. But yeah, sometimes the answer is just the simple thing. It's sometimes the simplest answers are the best. But yeah. Anyway, it's just like the same thing as in Minecraft, where I'm willing to put an item in a chest I'll never come back to, but I'm not willing to just throw it away. I'm willing to put an item in the PC and probably never look there, but I'm not willing to just toss it. You know, I'd rather just like store it somewhere, even if I'm probably not gonna ever need it. I'd just rather store it somewhere, just on the off chance that I will need it or will come back to it. And that tendency of wanting to store something rather than fully throw it out exists in me. That hoarding tendency exists in me both in Minecraft and Pokemon, and I'm sure in other games too. I think Terraria as well is another good example. But yeah, now I'm gonna go down this way. I know now that the answer from here is not to drop down again. That just sends me out of the mansion. At least I tried it. At least it's an experiment. It's a little scientific experiment that I did there. I figured out what happens when you drop down from this bottom floor here. You just end up right back at the beginning, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know how that works at all, really. But, you know what? You do you, Game Freak. And, this I don't feel is the bottom floor. I don't think this is how the bottom floor looked. Maybe I just have to go farther to the left in order to recognize it. But I feel like every floor of this building has different Pokemon in it. And I'm now realizing I never got an encounter here, which would not have been bad because it would have been level 30, I think, if I just got the encounter, because I would have had to get the encounter on the top floor. Like, now they're level 33, but I think that the Mewtwo was level 30. And I don't think the Mewtwo was the trainers, because I feel like we ran into multiple Mewtwo's, and maybe the level 30 Mewtwo was owned by a trainer, but I don't think there were a lot of trainers in here anyway, so I think that must have been a wild Mewtwo. That level 30 Mewtwo must have been wild. Here's a wall here. We would need to open that in order to get to that scientist. I don't know if that scientist is progression or just a bonus thing. Maybe he's a trainer. He's probably a trainer. But yeah, apparently there are... But yeah, I think that the levels have gone up as we've gone down these floors. And definitely the Pokemon are... definitely there's new Pokemon that we're encountering. That might just be luck, though. It may not be that there's different encounters down here, but just that these are rare encounters and of the same like encounter table that was upstairs. September 1st. Mewtwo is far too powerful. We have failed to curb his vicious tendencies. Well, that's not good. What has happened here? For a second, I thought Mewtwo was about to attack me. Like, we have failed to curb its vengeance. We have failed to curb its vengeance. We have failed to curb its vicious tendencies, and then it just attacks. That'd be crazy. Just like you read the book, you read the little entry in the scientific journal, and then all of a sudden Mewtwo's there. It's like, did you read about me? How about you experience me in person? Is this guy a trainer, or is he just gonna talk to me? Uh-oh, where am I now? He's a trainer. So anyway. What did that have to do with Kirby? Now, to the point of my whole talking about hoarding thing, what did that have to do with Kirby? I don't think anything. I think I just saw a Pokeball and then I was like, hey, that reminds me of my inability to let go of things in video games. Because, oh yeah, I was thinking about like tossing it. I was thinking about like, I don't want to grab it if I'm going to just toss it. And then I was like, this bag is so small, I'll probably just end up tossing it. And then like, that led me to, I don't like tossing things. And because I want to have an opportunity to get them back. And then that led me to like a Minecraft example. It was a whole thing. Anyway, back to the concept of Kirby, which is that the reason why I don't talk about Kirby as much as I do Mario. The reason why I didn't talk about Kirby at all prior to the episode before the last episode, the Seafoam Islands episode, was because I think it's just because like I know a lot about Mario. Mario is such a safe thing for me to talk about because Mario doesn't have like this complicated lore to it. It's like Plumber walks around and jumps on Goombas and wants to kill Giant Turtle Man and get his girlfriend back. It's like a very simple story. Meanwhile, there's not a lot to Kirby that's like simple. It may seem simple on the surface, but when you start to dive into it, you realize it is not. There are a lot of things about Kirby that are just like very confusing. Ow! This woman also howls like a wolf. That's quite confusing, but that's not the thing about Kirby. Toss some items. Here we go about tossing items. As I said, not a big fan of this part of the whole mission, but I gotta do it. Dire Hit. I don't need that. That's something I'm okay with tossing. I can live with tossing a Dire Hit, because let's be honest, when on earth am I gonna need a Dire Hit? Alex found TM30. I don't think I need to really flip any switches down here. And like, while I could flip the switch to get through that wall, I also could just go back up the way I came, because I do see there's a wall to the left of me. I don't know if y'all saw it, because I didn't really go over to it. It's just in the corner of the screen. But it is visible from where I am standing now. It was visible before I collected the Pokeball. So, and it was definitely even more visible when I was right in front of the trainer, because then I was closer to the left. Oh, it is not in fact visible from where I was collecting the Pokeball, never mind. But there is a wall right over here. It's not even visible from the tile to the right of me, actually. It was just visible when I was talking to the trainer. And by talking to him, I mean fighting him. But then again, there was talking involved too. But yeah, if we can just go back up through the top where we came, I don't see the point in flipping the switch to move that wall. If I remember correctly, the wall actually just moves to that. It takes down that wall, but also puts up a wall where we came from. So it literally just moves the wall. So when we press that button, it literally just moves the wall like right above us. It moves it to the right and up a little. It moved the wall from over there to over there. It's not a very impactful switch, I think, and I think that it does activate, yes, it does take down like other walls in this area. But I don't really want to mess around with that until I've explored the entire room just the way it is, and then I can start switching around walls and see if I can get some more items. But I don't really think that I don't think I'm really able to. So the thing is, like, I want to see if I can get more items, because obviously I don't want to miss out on anything. Y'all know I play like that. That's how I play these games. But I also feel like there's no real point to it when my inventory is already full. And I should have, when I went to go heal myself, sold that revive. Because I don't want to toss the revive, even though revives are, like, kind of useless. The thing is, they do provide you with quite a bit of money. But Alex found an elixir. So is this just the way out up here? I feel like I remember there being more places to go in this area. Can I even get into this little room here? I don't see any walls. Maybe I'm just being blind right now. But yeah, the thing about Kirby is that just like, it may seem simple on the surface, like, oh, little puffball goes around sucking up things and gaining their powers, but like, there are a lot of things in Kirby that are like, well, where did this come from? Like, you don't really think about it, but then you start to, Like, you wouldn't really think about it normally, but then you start to think about it, and a lot of things don't make a lot of logical sense. And so you're like, oh, wait a minute. So, it's like, where did... You start to see, like, connections and stuff. It's like there are things that are, like, hidden around that you wouldn't really see at first glance. And then there are, like, those little pages that, like, add to it. There's, like, this little page, like, you pull up the pause screen for the boss, and then it gives you, like, a bunch of things that are, like, kind of impactful to, like, the lore. It really tells you, like, it gives you, like, descriptions of the bosses, which tell you things that are, like, possibly impactful to the lore. I know that I personally was not expecting, I know that I personally was very surprised when I paused during the Void Termina fight in Kirby Star Allies, and was met with, like, that crazy, cryptic poem of, like, dark poem. Because if y'all are familiar with the Kirby series, if y'all have played Kirby Star Allies and you never paused during Void Termina, then check it out, because it's very interesting. I'm sure, though, if you've played a lot of Kirby, then you already know that, like, there are a lot of examples of, like, lore given away by pause screens. And I think that, like, in a lot of games you have to think about it more. I think the Kirby Star Allies was a lot more... The lore was a lot more blatant, like, they're like, oh yeah, there's definitely something going on here. Because it's like... It's not just like, oh, this is a little dark, this is a little weird. It's like, literally, they're shoving... Like, literally, the whole plot is... Dude is... Like, dark hearts are spreading around, possessing everyone, and then dude has a giant crystal heart, and he's the leader of a cult, and he has this symbol on his robe, which is the same symbol that these sisters have on their uniforms, which is the same symbol on the ship, which is the same symbol that Void Termina eventually shoots a laser out of. So it's like, obviously it's like a cult and a repeating symbol, and it's like, there is clearly something hidden here. Like, Kirby Star Allies, I feel it is a lot, the lore is a lot more blatant than any other Kirby game, really. I'm now realizing that we have to press that statue in there, not to just move this, or not to just move, like, the wall from here to up there, but not to, like, unlock some secret item, but actually just to progress. Because I was talking about earlier I was wondering earlier if that scientist man was, like, a bonus thing, or if he's, like, progression. He is, in fact, progression. Up there is where we need to progress to. And so, in order to progress up there, we need to press this switch. And it would have been much easier for me to figure all that out. It would have been much quicker for me to figure all that out. Not necessarily easier, it still would have been easy. Because it is quite an eady thing to figure out. It's like, oh, this thing moves walls from place to place. So therefore, if I press this switch that is right next to this wall, like, the switch is in the switch is in close proximity to the wall, so it's quite obvious in this situation. But yeah, it would have been much easier. So it's already quite easy to figure out, but I would have figured it out much quicker, I guarantee, if it wasn't for all these encounters that are just, like, getting in the way of me like, exploring the room to see if there's anything else. Because it would have taken much quicker for me to, like, look all around the room, see if there's anything else, and then come back here and realize that I have to take down that wall if I hadn't had to encounter so many things while in this room. But yeah, definitely there are a lot of hidden things about, like, Kirby lore, and there are a lot of things that sort of give away the fact that there's more going on here, and a lot of things in Kirby where it's like, if you think about it some more, then you start to realize there's something deeper here. I can't think of a lot of things off the top of my head right now, at the moment. For whatever reason, I can't think of a lot of things that are like that, where it's just, like, quite obvious that there's something deeper here, besides, obviously, like, Kirby star allies. I can't think of a lot of things that are like not easy to explain in Kirby, but I guarantee if I started trying to explain things about Kirby games, then I'd run into a lot of those things where I'm just like, okay, wait, what is this actually? Like, what is the meaning behind this? What is going on here? Because it's all just like happy-go-lucky walking around. Here's an enemy, go defeat it. And Kirby finds new enemy that came from this area, and their motive is this. But when you think about it some more, it's like, wait a minute, where did this threat come from? What does it mean? What does this thing? What does this mean? What does that mean? What is the lore behind this? Like, I don't think that it's hard with Kirby to be confused. I think with Mario, it's much harder to be confused. I think with FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's. I think with Five Nights at Freddy's, as much lore as there is, it's not easy. It's not like... I think it's fairly hard to be confused in FNAF. Unless you're, like, looking to confuse yourself. I feel like all the story of FNAF is pretty blatant. Like, there are blanks that need to be filled in that are very hard to fill in. Like, there's a lot of lore to it. But I feel like on the surface level, a lot of it makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, Kirby, I wouldn't say is the same thing. I would say that Kirby, a lot of things on surface level just don't make sense. Like, FNAF, like, lore-wise, obviously is very complicated. If you want to dig deeper, then that's, like... Then it becomes really difficult to sort of figure things out. But with Kirby, it's like... You don't have to dig deeper to be confused. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Is that, like... On the surface level, Kirby is confusing. While other franchises are, like, confusing if you decide to dig deeper. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, Eevee Clan. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And this is Alex Espion, signing off.